Deadlock, perhaps? Hey, I'm on here in 1 minute. Yes, I'm under the tent right now.
Stand by. 5, 4,
I'm up in 3, 2. And welcome back, everyone. I'm Jeff Hellinger on the platforms of 11 Alive, the continuing coverage of the trial of Andrea Sneiderman, and the jury has been in recess since 8:30 this morning. We now are seeing a flurry of activity inside the courtroom. Tom Clegg, a close-up of him sitting next to Andrea Sneiderman. Jessica Gable is with us, the Associate Professor of Law at Georgia State University, the College of Law. Any sense, any read of this?
You know, it's hard to read looking here at what's going on right now in the courtroom. What it appears to be that all the lawyers are there, the defendant is there. The look around the defense table is pretty serious, so maybe the jury doesn't want to stay around to deliberate over the weekend.
How unusual is that?
It's not unusual at all. In fact, I've had several cases where we're waiting for a verdict on a Friday, and at the last hour they come through because nobody wants to come back Monday morning or over the weekend.
B.J. Pak, our friend, the former federal prosecutor and defense attorney who was with us 2 days ago, and Georgia State Representative from Lilburn, people inside the courtroom appear too calm. My guess is there is no verdict. Deadlocked, perhaps?
Deadlocked, or it's just another jury question, or the judge is bringing them back to tell them what's going to happen for the weekend.
What is the longest that you have seen a jury deliberate on a perjury case like this? Is it unusual for this to go on for a period of days?
It's not unusual necessarily for it to go on for a period of days, especially when you've got a multiple count indictment like we've got in this case.
We're going to go to Judge Adams right now, into the courtroom. Nope. All right. We will take it back then. Derek, are we back on? Okay. We are back on. Right now it is a little chat in front of Judge Adams here before the microphones are turned on.
If I had to guess at this point, Judge Adams may be giving both sides an update on what's going to happen and that the jury hasn't reached a verdict. We see the defendant there laughing, or at least smiling with one of her lawyers. So I got to think that we're not at a verdict stage right here.
If you're Judge Adams, do you keep the jury here? Do you keep them working? Do you keep them on that course toward resolution?
Well, so the question is, the judge is going to ask them, do you think you're close? If they're close, they're going to stay probably a little longer. If they're not close and they're saying it's going to take us, several more hours or even half a day, then the judge might in fact bring them back either tomorrow or on Monday.
Issues of childcare surfaced yesterday for some members of the jury. So that being said, that would be a larger issue, I would think, on a weekend.
It could be a larger issue on the weekend. Each case is different, and in some cases they actually have trial going on Saturdays as well. With this case, it's 4:30 on a Friday. Who knows?
We have seen a lot of gatherings in front of Judge Adams during the course of this trial. Is that commonplace?
It's pretty common for most trials. There's a lot of sidebars. There's things that need to be determined outside the hearing of the jury so that we don't prejudice them in any manner. So that's not unusual whatsoever.
Andrea Sneiderman is buoyant. You have seen her looking at something on her iPhone there. And let's go back into Judge Adams right now.
on in, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. You may be seated in a seat. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. You may be seated in a seat. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen, make yourself comfortable. You may be seated in a seat. Boys, you may be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, basically before I get the notes in that you're ready to go home, what I'm going to do is go ahead and give you these instructions at this point in time. I'm going to release you going into next week, and when I release you, the evidence and all those notes and everything will stay here, there in the jury room. No one's going to look at your notes but you. Even if you, like I say, interact with each other after today and go into the weekend, that's fine, but you cannot discuss the case outside of being there in the jury room. Do not discuss the case unless you're there collectively in the jury room. You do not allow anyone to discuss the case with you, other than those members of the jury. Once I release you for the evening, do not remain upon the floor because I don't want you to hear anything you should not hear. Do not read or look at any media coverage pertaining to this case. Do not go upon the internet and do any research about this case. Do not blog about this case while it's ongoing. Do not go out to any location that may have been made reference to over the weekend. All the evidence at this point has been closed. You have to base your decision upon the evidence and the law I provided to you up to this point. Excuse me. During the lunch breaks, do not consume any alcoholic beverages during the lunch. You're more than welcome to bring something to snack and or eat with you during the afternoon and morning sessions. Deputy Garrett will collect up from you your cell phones, iPhones, and iPads each and every morning that we convene, and he will give those to you during lunch, during the lunch breaks. But do not text, email, voicemail, or exchange any information with anyone about this case while it is pending. You're still a member of this particular jury. As I indicated earlier, the lawyers and the parties cannot talk and interact with you, so I don't want you to take it personal, all right? And draw emphasis from that one way or the other. You have to base your decision upon the evidence that you have heard during these days and the items that you have witnessed and made notes about, and also the law provided you. Now, we are going to reconvene, and this is going to be the schedule in the generic term for next week. I'm going to bring you in. We're going to start at 8:30, all right? And your lunch is going to be at 12 noon, and you're going to be back at 1 o'clock, all right? That will be, I'm just projecting out, so make sure I'm clear. And I will give you this every day as I need to, but we're going to start at 8:30. Now, I'm going to let you go a little bit earlier today because I know, one in particular has issue with child care issues. I'm going to let you go ahead and address that issue. But that's going to be the schedule we're going to follow, okay? That's going to be the schedule for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we will get together each day as necessary. And I will be here with the lawyers, and I will respond to any written communication that you provide. And nothing else has been provided other than we want to go home. And so that's what we're ready to go home. So, and I'm going to respond to that. So, other than that, that is the written communication. And I understand, and like I say, you are not released, no one's released, and I understand there's a person who has a college attendance issue, but I'll have to deal with that separately. But Monday morning, 8:30, we will all be here. You will go directly to the jury room. Kelly Carpenter will have all those evidence items there for you, and you will resume your deliberation at that point in time. At 12 noon, we will break for lunch. At 1 o'clock, we will return for lunch, all right? If you send me a written communication, I said if, saying that you want me to tell you what the dinner break is, I can tell you what my normal dinner break is for jurors. It's from 6 to 7. That's my normal dinner break for jurors, all right? Just normally, and I always give people that information. That's the normal dinner break, okay? Now, with that said, and with those instructions, continue to wear your badges. Everyone is expected to be here Monday morning, and I'm going to give you that date because I want to make sure nobody's confused. That's going to be August the 19th, which is essentially, you got Saturday off, you got Sunday off, and you can go wherever you want to go, but I need everybody's body physically back here on Monday, August 19th at 8:30, and we'll follow a similar schedule as we had. Remember, let me make sure before I say this, when we interacted and we were going through what I call this is my term, the jury selection process, and we got to this point, I had asked for 3 weeks when I projected out. Now, I know 3 weeks, because if you count jury service, that's 3, but when I was projecting out, I was asking for 3 weeks after you were selected. So we're still within what I committed to and what you committed to. So everyone's plan should be within that range, all right? And I mean, August is a beautiful month. We're still in August. I feel comfortable about it, all right? Now, with that said, you can go ahead and follow Deputy Garrett. He's going to give you a phone, leave your notepads, all the evidence in it. It's going to face down. No one's going to touch it. It'll be your Monday. Have a great weekend. See you Monday morning. See you Monday morning at 8:30. 8:30 on Monday. See you 8:30 on Monday. What time? 8:30. Thank you. I guess someone in the gallery asked what time. It's 8:30. So they will know all time. 8:30 a.m. on Monday. All right? Boys and boys, you may be seated. Boys, approach. Let's give you some direction.
Jeff Hellinger back with Jessica Gable, the Associate Professor of Law at Georgia State University, the College of Law, as we look at Don Sneiderman, Steve Sneiderman, as this continues for them into the weekend. Monday, 8:30 a.m., the jury will convene once again after spending a protracted time today unable to fight their way through all of this information, all this witnesses, and this trial that has gone on now for weeks.
Yeah, the jury's going to be back on Monday morning deliberating at 8:30. The judges, of course, instructed them not to email, tweet, update their Facebook status, do anything remotely related to the trial. They also have to ignore all news media and basically just not be allowed to say anything about the trial.
And the question off Twitter directed to me is the Sneiderman jury, are they being sequestered or are they going home every night?
They're going home. They get to eat dinner with their families. They can go out to restaurants, but they are under strict instruction not to have any contact or talk about the case whatsoever.
What does that mean when a jury goes into the weekend? I mean, does this change at all the dynamic of the deliberation? You know, let's say this was a Tuesday. You're able to go through the remainder of the week. By beginning on a Friday like this, where you talk about these issues that are so important to the jury, and then you stop for 48 hours before you resume again, what sort of dynamic does that face?
I mean, I imagine that it might be the same for a jury as it is for lawyers in a case. Mm-hmm. You lose a little momentum, but it also gives you time to really reflect on what's going on in the case. You know, I had a case once where we came back on a Monday morning, and within 2 hours, the jury came to a verdict. So it could actually give them a little bit of time and pause, and then they can get it done. Or it may actually be a break in the process they've already established.
All right, let's go back into the courtroom. Are we done? We are.
The judge is leaving.
Yep, and there is Andrea Sneiderman, Tom Clegg, the defense attorney for Andrea there, and J. Tom Morgan. Mr. Petrie is over there. As we can also see part of the group, Doug Chalmers is in the background. He has the blonde hair and the blue tie. And they are stepping out for the weekend, and they will be back here Monday morning. Yeah, her reactions today, it's been interesting to watch Andrea during the course of the trial, not only during the trial itself, but also jury selection. Her moods have kind of gone up and down, a lot of emotions for her, a lot of tears, and yesterday was a very difficult day.
Well, and it is. I mean, the defendant in a case, this is your freedom we're talking about. Right. And so it's a very tense time, a very emotional time, and a lot of people are testifying, sometimes on your behalf, sometimes they're testifying against you. And so it is a dramatic time. It is traumatic in some cases.
District Attorney Robert James now exiting. You saw Kelly Stevens Hill there, as well as Anna Cross, who played such a large role in all of this. Mm-hmm. Mr. Clegg is wheeling out his box of papers, and we will begin on Monday morning. So some final thoughts from you, Jessica? Final observations for us to think about?